Hi, Philip Whiteman here, longtime park volunteer at Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park. I'm back in the museum again to tell you about another artifact in our museum and one that tends to get overlooked sometimes. And we're going to talk about money today. Now, prior to the Civil War and during the Civil War, banks were actually printing their own money. I have a $5 note from a bank in Pennsylvania and a $1 note from the Bank of Savannah. Now, this money was good if you lived in these areas, but you couldn't possibly go to the other one and use that money because they would discount it and actually only give you maybe 50 cents to the dollar because it was only good in the local economy. Now, when the Confederates were formed in 1861, they needed money to run their economy, and they print it, and they print it, and they print it. $1.7 billion. That translates to about $28 billion today. That's an awful lot of money for a small population in a short period of time, leads to rapid inflation and devaluation of the money. Why, by 1864, $1 of Confederate money was actually only worth 5 cents. Now, the Confederates were not uniform in printing their money initially. They printed different types of items on here. We have a $100 bill that has a train on there, and it looks like a lady carrying a basket on her head. And then we have another $100 bill that actually has a Revolutionary War soldier and a lady on it. And this is Lucy Pickens, wife of the governor of South Carolina. Since the summer of 1862, all Confederate money is printed in Columbia, South Carolina, until Sherman pays the city a visit in 1865. In 1864, the Confederates decide they need to have a uniform currency, and they do. And this time they use pink paper. Why pink? Well, they were trying to, one, unify all the currency, and two, they were trying to make it hard to counterfeit. Counterfeiting's very rampant in the 19th century. But all this money's flowing around out there. And these people running the states, those governors and the legislatures, they decide they need to have their own money too. So in our museum, here's what we have. Georgia money. Still in sheet form. We have 5 notes here that are still connected together. But it was printed in Milledgeville, Georgia, the capital of Georgia during the Civil War. People had faith in their state money. You could sell an item for 100 Confederate or maybe 50 for your state money. People wanted to keep this money, but they soon learned after the war it was worthless. You had to wait 100 years and then it became a collector's item, or it showed up in museums like we have here. Now, being a historian, I like to talk about both sides. So let's talk about the United States money, because the United States Constitution says Congress has the power to coin money, says nothing about printing it. But Secretary of Treasury Salmon P. Chase, the man right here on the note, comes up with the idea we need to print money to run the United States economy, and so we do. We print $459 million in money, paper money, that had not been done before because we were using coins, unless you use the local bank money. These notes are actually bigger than our notes today. They're about 7 inches long and a little over 3 inches wide, so it's a little bigger than our paper money today. But Secretary of Chase left us this legacy of paper money, and he did something else. He printed on the back. That had not been done before. These notes here, there's nothing on the back. But he printed the obligation and the denomination on the back, and using green ink, they started to refer to these as greenbacks. Sometimes the term is still used today. Secretary Chase left us with another legacy. Because we had trouble hanging on to gold and silver coins, and to cover that, Secretary Chase came up with using paper change, and that's what we have here, examples of paper change. These were known as fractional currency. But we were using copper and bronze coins, so we still had those in circulation during the Civil War. And Secretary Chase, once again, gives us something else. He has a motto put on that bronze coin in 1864, and it says, "In God we trust." It has been on our coinage ever since the Civil War. It's added to the paper money in the 20th century. So the next time you're visiting our museum, be sure to stop by and see this Georgia money that was donated to the park. and learn about the economies of the time of the Civil War. Thank you.
This is a framed vertical sheet of $10 notes printed in the state of Georgia during the time of the Civil War. This is a $1 note printed from the Bank of Savannah. The denomination is shown in the top left and right corners by the number 1. The back is a portrait of several ships, presumably in the Savannah River. The word 1 is written in the background in reddish-orange ink. A statue of a woman is in the mid-left corner, and a portrait of a woman with flowers in her hair is in the bottom right corner. This is a $5 note printed from the Central Bank of Pennsylvania. The denomination is shown in the two top corners, left and right, with the number 5 in the bottom left-hand corner. The Roman numeral V is printed in the middle against the background. It shows a scene of men and women and children farming. In the bottom left corner is a picture of a woman. This note, the colors of this note are gray and red. This is a $100 bill in Confederate money. Top left corner has a big C for Confederacy. Top right corner has the denomination and the number written, 100. The date, April 6, 1863, is in the top. In the center says Confederate States of America with a picture of a woman in the center. The bottom left corner shows 2 Confederate soldiers, and the bottom right corner has a portrait of a man with a beard. This is a Confederate $100 bill. The top left corner is the denomination of 100. In the top right corner is a larger denomination of the bill, which is another 100. The bottom left shows a woman in the fields with a basket on her head and a sack on her front. The bottom right corner shows a large C for Confederate. In the center says Confederate States of America, $100. Dominating the top center of the bill is a portrait of a train. This is a $5 Confederate note. In the left part of the bill, written vertically, is the word 5, and the number 5 is written in the top left corner against a flower and in the bottom center, showing the denomination. In the center shows a black and white picture of a large building, pillared building, and the words Confederate States of America. $5, the word $5 is written in the center, also showing the denomination, and a portrait of a gentleman in the bottom right corner. This is a Civil War era $1 bill printed in the United States. Top left corner shows Secretary of the Treasury Salmon P. Chase. Top right corner shows the denomination of the note, 1. There is United States printed in the center, as well as the denomination written out, $1, with the official stamp of the Treasury in the bottom left corner. This is the back of that same U.S. $1 note. This was unique in that not all currency had backs, especially in the Confederacy. This led to the term greenback, as mentioned into the program. As the term refers to, the back of this note is printed in green ink. It has 2 number 1s in the left and right corner, along with the word 1 and the statement U.S. legal tender in the center. This picture shows 2 fractional currency notes printed in the U.S. Running out of gold and silver, the U.S. begins to print paper change. Above is a rectangular note, a 10-cent note with the portrait of George Washington in the center, surrounded on both sides by 3 vertical strips of the number 10, indicating the denomination. The next note is a 25-cent note, larger, more rectangular. It shows the United States of America written on the top center. The United States fractional currency is also written. The denomination is shown on both sides, left and right, 25 cents, and in the center is a portrait of a man looking off to the right. As always, thank you for attending this virtual museum tour. We hope to see you back next time.